You have been carrying something since yesterday. Not a thought exactly, not a memory, something heavier, something that landed in your chest before you even knew what was happening. And you have been trying to shake it ever since. You probably woke up with this morning hoping it would be gone. That tightness, that strange pull, that feeling like someone was standing right behind you even when you turned around and saw no one there. But it's not gone, isn't it? It's still sitting with you. And you can't figure out why. Here is what I'm starting to release as I say this out loud. You're not sick, you're not overthinking, you're not imagining something that isn't there. Yesterday, someone reached a breaking point. Someone whose emotional world is connected to yours in ways neither of you fully understands. And when their inner defenses finally collapsed, you felt it. Yeah, I know how that sounds. Trust me, I know. Your logical mind wants to explain this away. Stress, bad sleep, hormones, just one of those days. But you and I both know that's not what this was. Because this feeling didn't creep in slowly. It hit you. One moment you were fine, going through your routine, doing whatever you were doing. And then suddenly, nothing felt right. Maybe you were driving, maybe you were sitting on your couch, maybe you were in the middle of a conversation and your stomach just dropped for no reason. And you looked around like, what just happened? Nothing changed in your environment. No bad news came. No fight happened. But your body knew something shifted anyway. That hollow feeling in your chest, right here, that wasn't yours. Let me say that again, because I think you need to hear it. That sudden discomfort, that wave of unease that seemed to come from nowhere, that tightness that made you check your phone over and over expecting a message that never came, that was not your emotion. That was someone else's emotional collapse reaching you across distance. Let it land. And here is where it gets strange. This person, the one you've been trying not to think about, the one you told yourself you were moving past, the one who pulled away or went silent or chose distance over whatever you had. They are not okay. And when I say they are not okay, I don't mean they are in a little sad. I don't mean they miss you sometimes. I mean something inside them broke yesterday. For a long time, they worked really hard to build a wall. They told themselves that they could move on without you. They convinced themselves that cutting emotional ties was possible. Was possible, that forgetting you was realistic. That if they just distracted themselves enough, worked enough, stayed busy enough, you would eventually fade into background noise. But walls like that, they are exhausting to maintain. Every day, they had to wake up and choose to keep you out. Every memory that surfaced, they had to push back down. Every urge to reach out, they had to override with something louder. Every night, every night, when the distractions stopped and the quiet came back, they had to talk themselves out of feeling what they actually felt. Yesterday, they couldn't do it anymore. I keep thinking about what that moment must have felt like for them. Not because I was there, no, but because you felt the echo of it. Imagine holding your breath underwater for so long that your lungs start to burn. And just imagine the way your body finally gives up, not because you wanted to, but because survival overrides control. That's what happened to them yesterday. Their emotional defenses gave way. Everything they'd been holding back, every word left unsaid, every feeling they tried to silence, every memory they pretended didn't matter, came rushing up all at once. And you felt that release. It reminds me of that scene in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. You know the one where Joel is literally inside his own memory trying to hold onto Clementine even as the procedure is erasing her. He is running backward through every moment they shared, desperate to keep her somewhere, anywhere, because he realizes mid-erasure that he doesn't actually want her gone. That's what their unconscious mind did yesterday. It ran backward through every memory of you, trying to hold on, even while their conscious mind kept saying, let go. And that internal battle, the part that wants to forget versus the part that can't, that's what created the emotional wave you felt. You probably didn't know what you were feeling at the time. How could you? All you knew was that suddenly, for no clear reason, you were thinking about them. Not in a passing way, not in a nostalgic way, in a way that felt urgent, like something was happening, like someone was calling your name from far away and you couldn't tell if you actually heard it or just imagined it. But here is the thing about real human bonds. They don't follow the rules of distance or time or blocked communication. They move underneath all of that, like roots underground, like currents in a deep water. When one side becomes overwhelmed, the other side feels that pressure without fully understanding why. This is where I want you to pay attention to your body as you listen to this. Just feel it. I'm going to describe something, and I think you will recognize it. Yesterday, did you wake up sometime between 3 and 4 in the morning? Not fully awake, not from a nightmare, just suddenly open. Eyes open, in the dark, heart may be beating a little faster than it should be. And for a second, you couldn't remember why you were awake, but your mind was already going to them before you could stop it. That wasn't random. When the mind's defenses are lowered, when distractions fall away and the world goes quiet, the deeper connection becomes loud. Their mind, in that vulnerable space between sleeping and waking, reached for you. For you. Not because they chose to, because they couldn't help it. You are the last thing their deeper self holds onto when everything else goes silent. And here's what I think is really happening underneath all of that. They are stuck, completely, painfully stuck, between wanting you and being terrified to reach out, between missing you and doubting they'd be welcomed, between knowing they pushed you away and not knowing how to undo it. Every day they wake up and tell themselves today will be different. Today they will be strong. Today they will finally move forward. And every night they fall asleep with your name still sitting in their mind, still unresolved, still pulling at something they cannot name, pretending that someone who matters deeply to you doesn't matter. I mean, think about what that actually takes. The energy required to keep that lie going, the constant self-talk, the way you have to monitor your own thoughts and redirect them every single time they drift toward the person you said you were over. It's one of the most exhausting things a person can do. Yeah. And yesterday they ran out of energy. This is the part I want you to really hear. Because this is where you stop doubting yourself. When they broke down, when their emotional container finally overflowed, that release didn't just stay inside them. Emotion doesn't work that way. It moves, it shifts, it travels through whatever invisible connection still exists between you two. And you, my beautiful, whether you want it or not, became the receiver of that signal. That's why you felt unsettled yesterday. That's why your sleep was disturbed. That's why food might have tasted different or your stomach felt tight for no reason. That's why you kept picking up your phone expecting to see their name. That's why for a moment you might have even thought you saw them somewhere they couldn't possibly be. Their body is searching for you. I don't mean that in a poetic way. I mean their actual physical body is responding to your absence the way dry land responds to the absence of rain. Their chest has that pressure, that tightness, that feeling like something heavy is sitting there right in the center of them and will not move. Their sleep is broken. Their appetite is off. They feel tired no matter how much rest they get, because rest doesn't fix what's actually wrong. And yesterday, all of that got worse. There was probably a moment yesterday when they stopped when they were doing or what they were doing and just froze. Maybe they were in the middle of something ordinary. Maybe they were with other people laughing at something that wasn't actually funny. Going through the motions of a normal day. And then suddenly nothing felt right. Conversations felt hollow. Laughter felt forced. The room felt smaller. And they couldn't figure out why. That was the moment their deeper self gave up pretending. Here is what I think they realized in that moment, and I'm kind of figuring this out as I say it, so bear with me. They realized that something fills the space you left behind. Not work, not other people, not distraction, not trying to convince themselves they are better off. Every single thing they have tried has come up empty. And yesterday, that emptiness stopped being something they could ignore and started being something they had to feel. That's a terrifying realization for someone who avoids their own feelings. And that fear, the fear of recognizing a mistake without knowing how to fix it, the fear of wanting something they are not sure they can have anymore, the fear of reaching out and finding out you've already moved on, that fear turned into the anxiety you felt. It traveled through whatever connects you. It landed in your body, and you have been carrying it ever since. But here is what I need you to understand, and this is the part that changes everything. You're not responsible for their emotional collapse. You didn't do anything wrong by being someone they can't forget. You didn't cause this by being important to them. This isn't punishment. This isn't the universe telling you to go back to something that wasn't working. This is something else entirely. This is their deeper self finally waking up. What we avoid gains strength. Every time they pushed you away, every time they told themselves you didn't matter, every time they chose silence or honesty, all of that avoidance just made the connection stronger. Because you can't avoid something that's already inside you. You can't push away someone who's already woven into the fabric of how you feel and think and remember. Yesterday, avoidance stopped working. The part of them that wants control, that wants to appear strong and fine and moved on, lost to the part of them that just wants the truth. And the truth is, you matter to them in a way they can't replace. Not because you are perfect. For me, you are perfect. Not because the relationship was easy, but because something real happened between you. And real things leave marks that don't fade just because you want them to. I want you to notice something about how you are feeling right now. Because as I'm saying this, something might be shifting in your own body. That tightness might be easing a little. That confusion might be clearing. Not because I've given you answers. No. But because someone finally named what you have been feeling. And naming something takes away some of its power over you. You're not crazy. You're not weak. You're not imagining connections that don't exist. You're just someone who was deeply connected to another person. And that connection doesn't disappear just because you stopped talking. It goes quiet sometimes. It hides underneath the noise of daily life. But when something shifts on the other end, when their defenses break, when their emotion overflow, when their deeper self finally screams instead of whisper, you feel it. Yeah, you feel it. And yesterday you felt it. So here is where you are now. You have a choice. Not about whether the connection is real. You already know it is. The choice is what you do with that knowledge. One path is that you keep waiting. You keep checking your phone. You keep hoping they will reach out, that they will finally say what they couldn't say before, that they will show up and prove that what you felt was real. And maybe they will. Maybe the pressure of their own emotional collapse will push them toward you. But waiting puts your peace in their hands. In their hands, and their hands have already shown you they are unreliable. The other path is that you stop waiting, not because you don't care, but because your peace doesn't depend on their actions. You feel what you feel. You know what you know. And you don't need a message or a sign or a confession to confirm what's already true. You can hold that knowing quietly inside you without it controlling your days, without it keeping you stuck. That's it. Here's the thing I think you already know, even if you don't want to admit it. You have been waiting for something from them, a text, a call, some sign that you mattered as much as to them as they matter to you. And every day that sign doesn't come, a small part of you wonders if you imagined the whole thing. You didn't imagine it. Yesterday proved that. Their emotional collapse, the way you felt it in your own body, the way you are still carrying some echo of it today. That's not imagination, that's connection. Yeah, connection. That's two people whose emotional worlds are still tangled up together, whether they are talking or not. But here is what I want you to walk away with. You don't need them. You don't need them to confirm your reality. You felt what you felt. Your body knows what happened. The tightness in your chest, the disturbed sleep, the way their name keeps floating into your mind without invitation. That's your evidence. That's your proof. And it's enough. You can let go of needing them to validate your experience. You can stop checking your phone. You can stop reading old conversations, looking for clues. You can stop trying to figure out what they are thinking or feeling, or whether they are going to reach out. Because you already know the most important thing. The connection is real. It was always real. And whether they ever say a single word to you again doesn't change that. That's the kind of peace that doesn't depend on anyone else. That's the kind of peace that lives inside you no matter what they do or don't do. And honestly, that's the only kind of peace that lasts. You have been carrying something since yesterday. You don't have to keep carrying it alone. And you definitely don't have to keep waiting for someone else to tell you what you already know.